Yeah.
Yeah? Sorry. It's weird. When the light's on, it doesn't work.
I think this one is working.
Sorry. Yeah. But of actual stories that have come only off the web, I think there are certainly less than 10, probably less than 5 in the last 3 years, something like that. And usually they're about something about the internet. That said, often when you're writing about a story and you want to find different kinds of opinion on that story, then I go to a BBS and see what people are saying about something. Or if there's a breaking news story, like there was a flood, I can't remember exactly where it was a couple of years ago. It was a BBS with people just putting information about the flood, and you could see it being erased almost as quickly as it was going up. In the end, I couldn't use it because I had no idea if it was true or if it wasn't true. It's very hard to check. What other ways would it be used? I guess one of the big stories of the last couple of years, not a big story anyway, a funny story, was you remember the Shanghai sex blogger, the British bounder?
China bounder.
The China bounder, yeah. I mean, that was a story that came through her blogs. But maybe another way is, as Steven was saying, that more Chinese journalists have their own blogs, and sometimes they put up stories in those blogs that they couldn't put in the newspaper. And in that case, it's very, very useful. And you know, one of the stories that I remember was, I think it was about 2.5 years ago, was I think it was the deputy provincial governor of Henan province had murdered his wife and rolled her up in a carpet and got one of the town mayors to come and drag him away. You know, one of the reporters, the Chinese reporters on the case, wrote about this on his blog, and we checked it out, and it proves to be, you know, we found several sources that seemed to confirm that, so we went with it. So that was probably the strongest story I've had. I'm not sure, you know, that's quite a select group, but I would agree that, you know, an awful lot of what you see online is dubious, to say the least. So you have to be very, very careful about what you use.
Let's move on to another question then. Another question?
Hi. Jeremy already addressed this before, but I just want to reiterate it and ask it a little more specifically. I think that now, with all the build-up to the Olympics and all these expectations, both from the Chinese side, looking at the world, coming to China, and sort of getting to know China, and from the Western side of seeing how China really is, what do you think could be the effect of a very big, let's say, PR mess or humiliation for China, caused by all sorts of things that are going to happen in various places, including in Beijing, possibly in the next few months, when all sorts of people are going to be here with their cameras and mobile phones and computers?
Well, maybe I'm going to take on this one. Maybe we should call it the Darfur effect, because one of the things which I find very interesting is how the Chinese government, I think, has been taken by surprise by the strength of feeling on the issue of Darfur, particularly in America, but generally in the West. And they have reacted, not in a way which I think actually changes the situation on the ground in Darfur, but they've appointed Liu Guijin, who is a highly intelligent and well-informed Africa expert, as an envoy on Darfur. Now, I'm pretty certain that they would have not put this much attention on examining their policy on Darfur and presenting their policy on Darfur if it hadn't been for the activities of activists who are using the Olympics to push on Darfur. So I think that what we're seeing is China, somewhat to its own surprise, finding out what it's going to be like to be a major world power, which is what China is becoming. And I feel that the Chinese government is slightly taken by surprise to discover, you know, that what film stars and people like Steven Spielberg say actually matters, that, you know, governments in the West take notice of this stuff, and public opinion matters. Because when you think about Darfur, there are no independent Chinese journalists in Sudan. There are no Chinese NGOs operating in Sudan. There are no Chinese human rights organizations operating in Sudan. None of the kind of people who feed into Western policy making on Sudan are doing the same in China. So the only thing you've got, the only alternative to the government view is all these strange Western people. And I think that that process, the process of their opinions, their information, is something new to the Chinese government. And I think that that is feeding into the policy process here, and the Olympics are a catalyst for that.
I'd like to.
Before you proceed, I just want to rephrase this. What I'm talking about is more about the reaction of the Chinese people, less about how the government will react. But I'm talking about something more serious than what has happened already. I'm talking about a serious humiliation, something that will really cause the Chinese to feel that the world is really against us, they don't like us, they're doing everything to try to find what we're doing wrong. I'm talking about what this could lead to, and how do you think the Chinese public and the Chinese government might react? Like a major apocalyptic humiliation is what I have in mind. Something really bad, let's say canceling the Olympics, or all sorts of countries not attending because of things that would happen in the lead up to the Olympics. A major humiliation, not just an embarrassment.
I think people on all sides are having too much hope and too much expectation for the Olympics. That's the problem. The Olympics is not, you know, forever. It happens once in 4 years, right? So whatever pride or humiliation is going to be gone in a short while. You know, this time next year, people are going to move on to the next hotspot, and China will be last year's news, and it will be jilted just like a lover, and probably left feeling like a Blanche of Dois. Like, wow. Really. So, you know, the changes, there are good changes, and there are maybe not so good changes. Personally, I feel most are cosmetic.
Robert, next one over here.